Hello guys, David Vos here again, and guess what? It's kind of cloudy and misty and cooling off. Beautiful day. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, take a look at that little picture right there. Now, I've got that on pause, but I'm going to push this little button right here, and it's going to take off, and you're going to experience a really huge delusion. This is one of the biggest mind delusions that the world has ever known. I mean, it's right up there with the alien invasion at Roswell and the little alien grays that they got pictures of, fake, and the landing on the moon, fake. You know, it's just one big fake. A lot of the Dead Sea Scrolls were fake. All this happened about 1947. And the Sitchin thing is fake, right? He didn't know how to translate the Sumerian tablets. It's fake. And why are they faking so much of this stuff? The Masoretic scribes, another huge delusion. I would say that's the biggest one. NASA, the whole birth certificate thing, fake, right? That's a ridiculous thing that we should have to sign away our life when we're born, right? So that they can literally keep us under some law that says if we can make up some crazy law that says you're a criminal, put a weird little title on that one, say felon. What's a felon? Oh, well, you sold an herb, you ingested an herb, and therefore you're never allowed to have any of your rights, like the Second Amendment or anything like that. And, you know, you can't get a job, and you're an outcast, and we'll kill you. Okay, so there's a lot of illusions and delusions. And what are they for? Mostly to get you in a frame of mind that you're being controlled. That you think you're on this little flat earth. Yeah, that's what this one's about. The flat earth. This is a huge delusion. And you're being hoodwinked. It's this guy named Weiss. He's a Bavarian, just like Sitchin and Daniken and Kowski and George Norrie, constantly coming on your television at midnight, right? Telling you that aliens have landed and we've been abducted. There's no Jesus. It's a galactic federation that are coming to save us. They're good people, but those are the alien grays. Then there's those Dracos, those lizard people, the reptilians. Oh, we've all seen them, haven't we? On Star Trek. Well, okay, this is why they want you to believe that the earth is flat. They want to keep you in a fairy tale. See, they'll pull out a scripture in the Bible. Now, let's see here, Dave. God created the earth and the heavens in 6 days. And that's it. Period. And they lived happily ever after. And you're stuck in this little thing, right? In this little spot in the middle of nowhere, right? There's all this infinite that doesn't exist. Just this little plane of reality that somehow God, which is beyond reality, you know, whatever that is, we don't even know. But this God, right, which is not the true deity, which is plural, Elohim. But anyway, they want you to believe this is God. He's a man, right, with a big beard. And in 6 days, with this little toolkit, he made and crafted and created out of nothing. There was nothing, just this little spot called the heavens, which is just the sky. It's just the sky, guys. It's not the heavens. It's not the interior spiritual realm. There are no demons. It's just this little flat place in the middle of nothing. And he puts you there. He just created you out of dirt. You're not a divine, immortal being. It's all backwards and upside down. And the funny thing is that most people who believe in this actually think that the globe is deceiving you, right? That's somehow keeping you in a box. No. Now, I'm going to share a bunch of stuff with you, I guess, because I'm rambling on here and I've got some things I want to say. But I had intended on right off the bat showing you this clip, which supposedly proves that the earth is flat and that the sun never goes down and it goes around and around and around. And if the earth was a sphere, the sun would definitely have to go down over the horizon, right? How could it just go around and around? If you're up at the North Pole, you see the sun going around and around. Well, okay, I'm going to show you that clip. It's the proof. It's the great, grand demonstration of the truth by all of these flat earthers. It's their final, victorious, slam it in your face. There it is. You're wrong. And it really looks like we're wrong. I'm going to show you this clip here in a second. It looks like, oh man, I guess the earth is flat. And so just hang on. I'm going to show you that in a minute, but I've got a couple other things to say before we get to that. Hang on. So here are some pictures of individuals that have their face surrounded by this wreath. Now, there's some guy, you say, who's that? I don't know. Well, this is Lycurgus relief portrait. He was a Greek legislator. He's traditionally the author of Laws and Institution of Sparta. Here's another one. Maimonides, relief portrait. Jewish philosopher of the Cordova, Spain, compiled a systematic exposition of the whole of Jewish law as contained in the Pentateuch and the Talmudic literature. Oh, now we get it. Hammurabi, there's Hammurabi, who made the author of the Code of Hammurabi, which is recognized in legal literature as one of the earliest surviving legal codes. Oh, there's Innocent III, Pope Innocent III, medieval pope, student of canon and civil law, who, like Gregory the Ninth, preserved the remnants of Roman law during the Dark Ages. Oh, there's George Mason, American political leader. He drafted the Virginia Constitution and Declaration of Rights, was a member of the Constitutional Convention in 1787, led opposition to the ratification of the Constitution under the Bill of Rights. Well, he kind of sounds all right, but he's leading the opposition to the ratification of the Constitution. So I don't know a whole lot of what that guy is all about. But here is Gregory the Ninth, who is a medieval pope, author of the compilation of decretals, authoritative decisions on canon law. During critical period, he was instrumental in maintaining the remnants of Roman law. Here is a Hugo Grotius relief. Hugo Grotius, Dutch statesman, advocated general of Holland and Zealand, author of On the Law of War and Peace, the first treatise on international law. Oh, international law, like the UN? It's around the UN now. They got complete control. Gaius, relief portrait. Gaius, Roman jurist, author of the numerous works, the most noted being the Institutes, a complete exposition of elements of Roman law that were the foundation of the Roman civil law. Alfonso, the Wise, king of the Lecatus, king of Leacut and Castile, author of the Royal Code, a compilation of local legislation for general use, originator of the 7 parts, the code used as a basis for Spanish jurisprudence. Jean-Baptiste Colbert, French finance minister and controller general under Louis XIV, codified commercial, maritime, and colonial ordinances, reformed the French legal system. See, what we're talking about is maritime law. This is what we're surrounded by now. This is the secret. We're entrapped in this codified Hammurabi law of Moses. Simon de Montfort, English statesman, advocated representative government, established an early form of representative government in England. It's government. Edward I, King of England, founded the Parliamentary Constitution of England, eliminated the divisive political effects of the feudal system. The United Nations, also created around 1947, I think it was 45, right after the World War, when the Nazis took over, right? These Bavarians had their complete control plan, right? And they commandeered this little land over there, and now it's their land. And, but, so they started with their Project Paperclip, and all of this Mockingbird and all the other projects and operations. And one of them was a project Deceive You, right? Into some scientific unreality. So they created the UN, and it's got this little picture of the earth that's flat. And around this flat earth that they show you, the logo of the United Nations, is this wreath. Well, that wreath represents the control that they have over you, the law. You see, this goes back to ancient days. I mean, a lot of people think it has something to do with Rome. It doesn't. It goes back to Greece and beyond. In ancient times, it was like a crown, but not just a crown like a king would wear. It was like a victor, someone who had gained complete superiority over you and had conquered you. And so it represents literally to conquer and subdue the enemy and to gain the victory. So when they put this wreath around the globe, they're saying they want absolute control and absolute victory over the world. It's a little bit like the United States flag. Well, there's some beautiful symbolisms there. There's the 13s and all of the, there's the pyramid. There's nothing wrong. The pyramid's a good thing, right? They've commandeered all these symbols and made them upside down. And they want control over it, so put the wreath around it. Well, around the flag, they've got this fringe, this gold fringe. If you notice, the president always stands, and there's a flag behind him, and it's got gold fringe. Whenever you see the gold fringe surrounding the flag, you know that they are saying they have control over us and our flag. You see, that's a symbol of our Constitution and freedom. And they're saying, no, you don't have any Constitution. We got a gold fringe. It's the money system, our wealth, our commonwealth, right? Which is British, Vatican, Germanic, Bavarian control. And of course, they show a flat earth. How do we know it's a flat one? I mean, maybe it's just looking at the earth from up in the air and it's really round. Well, no, you can see all the way to the South Pole. It's on if you were looking down on a round globe, you wouldn't be able to see the South Pole. But they show it around the edges. So you're looking at a flat earth. It's a big delusion meant to be an advancement where you move higher and higher and learn. But it's around and around. The judgment that's upon you from the victor, from the law, keeps you in this wheel of karma and you can't get out. And only through Jesus Christ can we actually get out of this mind meld that they've got us in. And so they lie to us about everything. And so they tell us that they're aliens and there is no Lord and we're living on a little flat earth in the middle of nowhere. And the stars are just circling around above us, maybe, I think they're saying a couple of 1,000 feet in the air, 3,000 feet or a few miles or something, but not, oh no, the sun can't be 93 million miles away and the moon cannot possibly be that far away. The stars cannot be way out in space, millions of light years away. That would be an infinite world we couldn't comprehend. How could we be moving through space? How can there be motions that we can't comprehend? We've got to be able to comprehend all of this. It was just done in 6 days, Dave. Right? There can't be any other realms or worlds. There can't be any other consciousness higher where there are living beings that love us, that don't do evil. There can't be a paradise. See, good and evil, it's all the same. You're just supposed to embrace them both. And so they lie at every turn. So they want to say, well, you see, the world, we've always believed the earth was flat. Until modern times, they're trying to deceive us and tell us that it's round now. That's a lie. Aristotle believed the earth was a sphere. Pythagoras got this from the ancient Egyptian mysteries. The ancient Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, the Book of Thoth, the Quran says the earth is the shape of an egg, which is actually more accurate than a sphere. It's a round kind of distorted little round thing. Okay, it's not exact, it's a little flattened on the poles, but it's not a donut. I mean, nobody ever said it was a donut like some people, or a hollow. All the Bible itself tells us that the earth is round. And so many want you to think, oh, it doesn't mean a sphere. It's just saying a round disc. Well, if it meant a round disc, then why didn't they say that? The word round there literally can be translated a sphere. That's what it really means. It doesn't mean, it means a ball. That's what the Bible says. The Quran says an egg shape, and the Vedas say it's a sphere, and Pythagoras in the mystery school say spheres. So in the ancient mystery schools, in fact, I've got some of the astrological art that was found in the area up around Syria. They found an astrological wheel with all the animals and so forth. And in that beautiful art, we have found them at Dendera in Egypt and other places. But this one in Syria, it's got the astrological signs, which are the stars, right? They're the shapes that you see up in the stars, these little animals, you know, the lion, the bear, and all this. And they've got all these stars revolving around a central sun, Helios, who is holding this earth. And so it's actually completely accurate because the stars go around the sun, but from our vantage point on the earth, they look like they go around the earth, but it's showing that the earth itself is not the central thing. The being in the middle is the sun, and it's an appendage. The earth is an appendage to the sun, and it goes around the central sun, around his head, and all the stars circle around that. It's a beautiful picture, and it's very accurate. And so the flat earth makes the world really small. There's nothing beyond it, and they're going to control you, and they're going to make you believe that there's no way out of this. There's no Lord Jesus, right? Only aliens so look like little robotic, demonic creatures from hell. But somehow or another, that's the divine advanced being, some demonic-looking, robotic reptilian, right? Where's the Lord, right? Where are these brilliant beings of light that the Bible talks about, the angels? Oh, well, they don't exist in their little world. It's a galactic federation, and they're all a bunch of animals. Some are dogs, and some are, you know, snakes, and some are buffoons and jackals or whatever. Not understanding that all of this that was spoken of is the zodiac, and this is animal natures. It's the wheel of rebirth. It's something that Yahweh made. It's his law. And he made the law of karma to keep you in a circling rebirth. Around and around you go. And you can't get out of it. It's not, I don't want you to think that this natural process of evolution was created by the devil. Not at all. But it's the governments of the world that are looking at all this esoteric wisdom and these symbolisms that's written in the stars, that's written in the temples, and they're trying to interpret it, and they're thinking, oh, well then, I guess this control, right, this classroom that in reality is not eternal, because we do graduate, you know, we get our white robe and we get our crown and we go on to higher worlds. But they don't want you to understand that. That's too deep. Only the Pope with the white robe gets to understand that. You peasants, you get a black robe when you graduate because they're not going to yet reveal you. You know, you people that's in the Masonic orders, you're going up through the orders and you think you're learning anything, and you go through the degrees and you go to get your bachelor's degree. What do you come out with? A black robe cloaking the white truth. They never tell you the truth until you get to the entire, complete top. And at that point, they go, ha, 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 ha. We knew the truth all along, but we were just lying to all you peasants. And even now, we're just evil fiends trying to hide it from you. The real truth is this government that they have is using this esoteric wisdom, and they're twisting it to say that it really is a good thing, all this deception and illusion of the government. Now, the government that is man-made is arbitrary. It's of Yahweh. He's the deceiver. He's the murderer. He judges you, and he has no right. And it is not the same as the eternal plan that our Heavenly Father has, that's spoken of, the truth that's spoken of in the stars. We don't graduate from their classes and get little black robes. We're going to graduate from the real classroom. And when we get to the Heavenly Father and our Divine Mother and we stand before Him in our white robes and they give us a pebble with a new name that no one knows, you know, our new identity, our real identity, because we've been blinded by this illusion down here, slaving away under these governments that have lied to us and told us there is no eternal life. They weren't graduating or helping us or teaching us. They were keeping us down. They were a hard taskmaster. Yeah, we do have a schoolmaster that leads to Christ, but they're not the schoolmaster. They're a hard taskmaster. That's an interesting point because in the Bible it talks about two different symbols. One is the school room that leads to Christ. Well, a hard taskmaster doesn't lead you to Christ. He's a deceiver. So Jesus said He went away and He put his farm, his manor, in the hands of some servants, some stewards. And when He came back, they were good for nothing stewards, and they had been beating the sheep and hurting them and beating their fellow servants. And He said, "Get thee into outer darkness where the weeping and your gnashing of your teeth shall be, because you are a wicked servant." So remember that. What they're saying and all of their shenanigans is lies. But let me at this point just show you one of these crazy lies. Now this is some guy on YouTube. It's some young man. Sounds like a young man. I'm sure he's completely deceived and has no clue that he's being deceived. And like a good little, you know, deceived pupil of the evil, wicked world, being duped by these satanic orders that we call churches, or these modern cults that are coming up with all these propaganda. They get caught up into it and think that somehow they know now better than Aristotle or all the mystery schools. And they're going to show you, oh, it's so obvious. We've got proof. You see, water always goes to its level. Well, there you go. There's no curvature. And they just think they know all the science, and they show you these ridiculous little things that the uninitiated eye would look at and say, oh my goodness, I guess they're right. Sure does look like the earth is flat. Well, there you go. And they just discard all of the ancient mysteries and we don't believe in history, Dave. We don't believe in the Bible, the esoteric wisdom. We don't believe in the astrology, the science. We don't believe in Jesus. Well, they're all fools. And I know somebody the other day in the comments said, don't call us fools. Well, I'm not calling you a fool. If you think I'm calling you a fool, then you must be a fool. Because I'm calling these evil, wicked people that are subverting our children's minds. And you should start calling them fools as well. But let me show you this little trick they're playing now. This is a really, really, really subtle trick. And I must talk about it. Watch.
All right, here's a big wake-up call. I had to scour the internet to find a 5-day time lapse of the Alaskan 24-hour sun. And you'll see right here, this is up near the Arctic Circle, right? And you'll see the sun goes up, this is high noon, and it's going to come back down again. As it comes back down, you'll see the sun gets smaller each time with each day. So we've already witnessed a few days here, and it comes back around, here's high noon, and then the sun's going to come back down and set, almost set. It's just simply moving far away and getting smaller. And here it comes back around, it's circling. That's another day. You can see the days pass, and the sun is local. It is simply just circling above. It's not 93 million miles away. It's not in outer space. In fact, none of the stars or planets or any of this stuff is in outer space. It's all in a closed environment. It's all part of the firmament. The stars and the planets, whatever, are simply lights, the luminaries. But yeah, here it is. Look, nice clear day, sun coming down, and it's going to get smaller and smaller as it sets. See? And here's what you're actually witnessing. I'm going to show you, this is from the FE Clock app. This is Alaska, and look, the sun is just simply moving around in a circle, and it never really gets dark in Alaska in this model. The flat Earth model is what's up. It matches the Bible, and it matches our observation and our feeling. You guys aren't spinning through the galaxy.
Okay, well, it looks kind of convincing because you're trying to imagine in your mind. I think a lot of us have a little education, and we know that there's a tilt that the earth is on its axis, and this is what they tell us makes the spring and the season and the fall and the summer and all of this. And I think some of us got a basic understanding of the fact that the sun goes around and around at the equator, okay? But because of the earth's tilt, it tilts on its axis 23.5 degrees, but it does this over a course of a year. So when the earth is on one side of the sun, like 6 months down the road, the tilt is tilted away from the sun, and when it comes back to the other side, it tilts the other way. And this is what makes people in the northern hemisphere have winter, because the sun is like further angled away and doesn't reach when it goes around, when it hits the round earth, and there's more of a shadow for a longer period of time in the winter, because in the winter the sun is angling towards the southern part of the world, and therefore they're getting all of the sunshine. And this all makes complete sense in our minds. You know, we go along and we think, okay, so the earth's actual tilt causes the seasons. That makes sense. Until somebody shows you that at the top of the world, it's always daylight 24 hours of the day for certain periods of the year. So now, of course, it's not true that in Alaska that's the case. There's a lot more daylight than there would be further south. But when you go up to Alaska, it's not far enough north to have 24 hours of sun. I mean, maybe the very furthest northern point in Alaska, there might be a couple of weeks of just almost all sunlight. But it's not really all sunlight. It's like the sun is at the horizon, so it's kind of like in the dawn period. It's not like bright light. But yeah, you know, some of us kind of have this vague understanding of this, and we're just kind of going along and thinking, okay, that's because of the winter and the summer and all that. And then somebody shows us this picture of a place on Earth. Sometimes they'll tell you it's in Alaska, but if it were, it would be way in the northern part of Alaska. But anyway, they show you this picture where somewhere in the world, there's a period of time where the sun goes around and around and it never sets. And we think about that for a minute and we think, wait a minute. If I was at the top of the world and the sun never set, wouldn't it also never set if you were at the bottom of the wheel? Right? Not in the summer or the winter or whatever. Just whatever time it's not setting at the north, it wouldn't be setting at the south. Right? Right? And then somebody showed you that little clip and gave you their little spiel that, oh, they're lying to you. See, the earth is flat. That'd be the only way that could possibly happen. But what they're not doing is explaining it because they don't know how to explain it. They don't understand it. It's really kind of simple. You see, the angle from the moon to the top is the same as from the moon to the bottom, right? So it should be daylight on both the top and the bottom. Here's the problem right off the bat. There's more than one problem here. But if that earth was flat and you're at the North Pole, you're really in the center, then wouldn't it still be a straight angle to the sun no matter where it was in the sky? Because you're on a flat looking up. No matter where you're looking up, you're looking right a straight angle right to the sun. So this doesn't help us at all, does it? Oh, there's more, friends. If you really fully and completely grasp what's going on, you may not know that the tilt of the axle takes a year, 360 days. You may not understand that that's not causing daylight. That's causing seasons. So you're thinking, wait a minute now, let's see if it's all the time the sun's up here. What are they doing? They're not getting any sun down there in the South Pole at all. Like down in Peru, they don't get no sun because we got all the sun up here. Well, yeah, it's very confusing. But take a look at that diagram right there. Now, that's the Earth and the moon. But imagine that that moon is actually the sun. I couldn't find a diagram that showed the sun. But now you see that if the sun is 93 million miles away and you're up on the top of this globe, well, of course, from where you're standing, it's all downhill. So if you look straight out from where you're standing at the top of the world, which would be like a 90-degree angle, because 180 degrees would be straight down, right? 360 degrees would be behind you. But you're looking straight out, very level, and you could see infinitely out into space, right? Well, the sun then goes around at the equator. So it's going to be 93 million miles away, but it's at the equator, and the angle of the light is going to go from that sun all the way to the North Pole. But obviously there's not going to be any light shining behind you, because the light can't get on the backside, you know, on the other side of you, behind you, because the Earth is going to block the rays of that sun. And everybody at the equator will be able to see that sun. But remember, the Earth spins every 24 hours, so it's going to get light and then it's going to get dark, light and dark. And at the equator, it's going to be 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness, because it takes 24 hours to go around. And if you're at the top of the world and you're looking down, and the sun is right there in the middle, like it's supposed to be, right at the equator, then again, you could probably see that sun going all around you for 24 hours. Except for one thing. You're not straight up. You're 23.5 degrees slanted at a tilt. And so during the summer, then the northern hemisphere is going to have a better view or angle at the sun. And the southern hemisphere is going to be angled away from the sun. So that means that in the summer, because of the tilt of the Earth, you're tilted towards the sun, and you're going to get more sunlight for longer periods of time. And at a certain specific point, when you reach all the way over 23.5 degrees, you're going to have the sun not going down over the horizon. From the spring equinox till the summer solstice, it's gradually getting more and more light. And from the summer solstice to the fall equinox, it's getting gradually less and less light. But there's a certain period of time right up at the top, maybe for a couple of months, where it's 24 hours light. See, imagine if that little guy that's on the top of the wheel, imagine if you put him down 23.45 degrees, and understand that this is the rotations of light and day, not the seasons. So, at the summer solstice, there's a 23.5 degree wobble. And so you're not actually straight up north, and you're not going to actually get 24 hours of light, because even though you're at the North Pole, you're 23.5 degrees off, and you see there's not going to be any light behind you. But as it goes towards the spring equinox, now that North Pole goes straight up, so that you might have a period of time, maybe a month or so, where there's 24 hours of light. It's really confusing. It's like a Rubik's Cube in your mind, because you see, when the equator gets equal sun, 12 hours darkness, 12 hours light, that's the spring or the fall. So that's when the sun begins to rise higher and higher in the sky. Now, right at the equinox, it's the equal distance, 12 hours of light, 12 hours of darkness. But now it's rising towards the North Pole, and they're going to get more and more and more and more light. But not until the summer solstice does it get the most amount of light, which might be a month or two of total light. And the opposite occurs at the bottom of the wheel. So the problem that's hard to imagine here is that the summer solstice is when there is 23.5 degrees of a tilt away from the sun, or towards the sun, depending on which side of the Earth you're on. So, because, see, most people don't understand it. I mean, like, nobody can, like, it's like a Rubik's Cube. Even scientists haven't got this all straightened out in their head, you know, in their mind, like, off the top of their head. They got to go look it up. But what this means is that, yes, there are two motions that you have to keep track of in your head. The spinning of the Earth in 24 hours, and then the rotation of the Earth around the sun every 360 days. So for 6 months straight, there's going to be a difference at the top because of the tilt of the axis, as there will be at the bottom. So during that difference, that 6 months, there's summer at the top and winter at the bottom. So you can see that this model of the Earth being round explains why we have not just daylight and darkness, which you wouldn't have if the sun was above us all the time, no matter where it was. You'd still have daylight, some kind of daylight, maybe not the brightest but it would always be able to see that sun somewhere if it was a flat Earth. And it certainly wouldn't explain the seasons. And because the seasons are explained by this 23.5 degree tilt. It's completely explained by geometry. But it is absolutely proven then that the Earth has to be round. That's the only possible way that we could have the waxing and the waning of the moon and all of the angles that the sun rises and comes in the winters and the falls and the daylights and all the rotations. Listen, this is a complex thing. You can't just look up in the sky and go, oh, I see what it is. You need to literally be able to understand all the motions and things going on. No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make it, oh, understandable now because it's flat, therefore it works now. It doesn't. The Earth was flat, you'd see the moon and the sun up there all the time. You might not see the moon if it's not very bright at all because the sun's blaring. And if this sun is that bright and it was only 24,000 miles away, because that's the only size the Earth is, you'd see it. If the sun was closer to China than it was to America for a while, you'd still see it in America, guys. You'd have a direct angle of view. The only way that the sun could just block its rays, you'd have to go behind the Earth somehow. It'd have to be some sort of it couldn't be flat. You'd have to be on the other side of the Earth, which means it would have to be round. See, we know that the Earth that we know of, that it's about 24,000 miles around. Well, let's say we stretched it out and say it's 24,000 miles across. And they're claiming that the sun is 3,000 miles in the air or something. Well, or whatever they're claiming, 30 miles or 30,000 miles. Wherever they believe that sun is, no matter where you were on this 24,000 mile flat Earth, you could look up and you have a straight angle to that sun no matter where it was. If the sun was all the way over to the edge of the Earth, yeah, and the other side of the Earth could still see it because it would be a direct angle. Now, it might be a little smaller, you know, if it was further away, but, you know, you could still see it. I mean, after all, we see the stars and they're long ways, right? Assuming they're smaller because they're further away, but you can still see them. And yes, you can only see the stars at night. But why? Because there's no sun. The sun is so much bigger and brighter that it just counteracts any of this smaller light. I mean, you wouldn't be able to see these little white, pinkly lights because the sun is just covering the sky, the brightness. So, if we can see when the sun's not there, all right, we can still see the stars, but they're not bright enough to make the Earth light, right? It doesn't brighten everything up that much. They're a very small, little dinky twinkling light, so they don't lighten up the whole Earth. But you can still see them. There's no sun. You don't see the sun anywhere. Where'd it go? Right? How come the sun cannot be seen as a little twinkling star? If it went far away, and it's a flat Earth, we should still be able to see wherever that sun is. We can see all the stars. You know, what are these little stars twinkling up there? Why are they up there? Well, the Lord put them there, Dave, and He made them little small things. You can see them. Okay, but it's a flat Earth. The sun's up there flying around somewhere, went all the way over to China. They're seeing the sun. We're not seeing it. They're seeing it. How come we can't see it? If it's that far and it's a small sun, like you believe, then it should still be a twinkling star. But it's not. Because it went down over the horizon. So the rays of that light cannot reach you. You're in the shadows, behind something. Shadows are, you know, like when you see in the woods and you see the moonlight shining down and there's a tree and you see a shadow. Why? Because the light hits the tree and it makes a shadow. And that's darkness. That's what darkness is. It's a shadow. So we're in the nighttime, we're seeing the whole world is shadowed. We can't see the sun. It's ridiculous to say, well, it's so far away. Well, it's only 24,000 miles to China. You can call them up on the phone. You got a sun over there? Oh, yep, we've got a sun over here. Okay, well, that's weird because we don't have no sun up here. Well, how far are you? You're in China. Well, I'm in America. That's only like, what, just a few thousand miles away. I can get on a plane, get over there in a few hours. right? The whole Earth is 24,000 miles around. So if you're on the opposite side, you can't be more than 12,000 miles away. But you can't see the sun anymore. And now we know that the sun has gone all the way over, was over here, now it's over there. But I still can't see it like a little twinkly star. Right? It's just gone. Now there's something in the way between me and the sun, and it's a shadow, and it's dark over here. It's just pitch black sometimes when you don't even have a moon, because none of the rays of the sun are getting to the earth, and there is no moon. Maybe it's cloudy. It's just pitch black. You know why it gets darker when there's clouds? Because there's no light coming through from the stars or the moon or the sun. And so at night, we don't have any sun anywhere in the sky. It seems very odd to me that the sun would be big enough to lighten the earth. Then it gets down over the horizon and boop, it's gone. That quick, just boom. Like it goes from the size of I don't know, the size of an orange above your head. And it starts going towards the horizon. And then about evening time, it gets towards the horizon and whoop, it's gone. Where'd it go? Oh, well, it's so far away now you can't see it. Well, wouldn't it be a much more gradual thing if it went that far? It'd be so, like just gradually going farther and farther and farther and farther. And you'd see it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So it was just like a little twinkly star. No, it just disappears like within probably 10, 20 seconds. It's gone. Because it went down over the horizon. And now the earth is blocking its rays. And we're in the shadows. Do you understand, friends? There is no flat earth. So it would not make any sense that, a lot of these people that believe in the flat earth, they'll have this experiment where they'll show you this flat earth and they'll have this flashlight beaming down and it only shines on one little area, like a spotlight. Well, the light that's in the sky cannot be a spotlight. It's radiating light in all directions. It's not a spotlight. You would be able to see that light. It would definitely give light to the entire globe all the time. There would be no darkness. Unless the moon is some sort of a light absorber. It just comes along and sucks up the light or something. That would not make any sense. If the moon is about the same distance above us, and it's not a very bright light, but yet we can see it at night, then why can't we see the sun at night? None of this makes any sense. There are certain rotations, there are certain orbits, there are certain distances that can all be measured with geometry and calculus. And they've been measuring and doing this scientific experiments clear back to the days of Aristotle and the great Chinese mathematicians and the ancient ones going all the way back as far as mankind has recorded history. And they've always said that through their calculations, do you think Newton was an idiot? Do you think Copernicus was a stupid, stark raving idiot? And he didn't know that the sun, he couldn't figure out with geometry, the angles and all of this, and this some guy in his basement can figure it out better? Friends, this is ridiculous. But anyway, I'm only 44 minutes today. Wow, I did a short video. I think I'm just going to leave it here. I think I made my case. I think we're going to close the case. And I know there's going to still be a few of you out there. I don't care. The earth is flat. Screw you. That's your prerogative. You go ahead and you continue to believe in something that you have absolutely no proof for. And if you still like the other content on my channel, that's fine. You can still stick around and listen to the rest of the stuff that we talk about. But I hope, I really do, I hope that some of you out there don't show how completely ridiculous you are. If you really actually got this far and you watched or listened and watched to the entire video, and you paid attention, and you use your noggin, I don't think you could still be a flat earther at this point. And I have to question your sanity. And I'm not trying to be rude. Look, these lies are getting so pernicious They're getting so absolutely freaking ridiculous that somebody got to say something. I'm sorry, but this is ridiculous. And literally, we got to stop this. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. May the Lord bless you. Have a good one.